Hello again, everyone. No, I'm getting a little off target with my Masked Singer Season 3 stuff because I honestly just haven't talked much at all about Season 3 of The Masked Singer. And honestly, I can't remember what I did and did not say. So my plan right now is to start with Season 1, with Episode 1 of Season 3. I just finished watching Episode 3 and there weren't a whole lot of clues on there, but there were clues concerning two people who have me. I'm almost certain I know who White Tiger is now, which I was almost certain I knew who he was before. And I'm pretty sure that I know who. I've narrowed Turtle to two possible people, and I think I know which one of those two he is. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But I wanted to talk about who I thought they were from Episode 1 because I'm not sure if I have done that yet. I may have already done that. If I have, I'm sorry. And feel free to comment who you think that the different characters might be and clues that you may have picked up on that I didn't, or the ones that I might have not even seen. So my initial guesses for the White Tiger, I was pretty sure that he was a football player from the start because Nick said at the first episode that the first, I almost said first 9, the first 6 characters have made, oh my gosh, I'm getting tongue-tied. Anyway, he said that the first 6 characters, or Group A, have made 9 Super Bowl appearances. So I definitely was certain that White Tiger immediately was a NFL player. I originally went with Teddy Bruschi, who is a pretty big guy and has played in, I want to say 3. He's a Patriot. He hasn't played in all of the Super Bowls that Tom Brady per se has, but he played in 4 or 5. I want to say it was 4. And I'm sure there are other characters on here who have appeared in the Super Bowl. Maybe not necessarily played, but maybe we're on like a halftime show or something of that sort. Trying to find a comfortable way to hold my phone. But anyway, so yeah, I originally was like, he's Teddy Bruschi of the Patriots. And then I changed my mind to Tom Brady because I misheard the Super Bowl clue and thought that he said that the White Tiger had appeared in 9 Super Bowls. So, and the clues that I did pick up on that one for White Tiger were that it showed a 5/3, and there was the 4-7 years ago, which could pertain, now that I think about it, to the town, Gettysburg, or it could pertain to the numbers 4 and 7. I took it to pertain to the numbers 4 and 7. And from that, based on the height of White Tiger and the fact that I'm pretty sure his college number was 47, and I think possibly the Steelers have gone to 5 Super Bowls since he's been the quarterback and won 3, I changed my mind to Ben Roethlisberger. That was like when I rewatched the first episode, and on the second episode I stuck with Ben Roethlisberger, though occasionally I also went back and forth to perhaps it was Tom Brady, perhaps it was another football player. There were a couple of other ones I looked into who were too short. Now that I think about it, I think I might have already mentioned that. But, and Turtle, who is still by far my favorite, I was sure was Adam Lambert because the rough exterior, the costume, the rocker vibe from his costume, just to me saying Adam Lambert. And he was talking about running off and leaving others behind, or no, sorry, that's not it. Taking it slow, basically, while others ran off and left him behind. And that he, they showed a gold medal, which I took to mean that he was a winner in a competition of some sort. And I'm like, Adam Lambert won the American Idol contest. So, I was pretty sure that it was Adam Lambert. And then on his second performance, I was like, I definitely know his voice. And some of the judges had said maybe Zac Efron. I did watch all the High School Musicals with my youngest daughter, so I was like, well, maybe it is Zac Efron, and he does surfing, and he was on Baywatch, and there was like a hamburger he named after himself or something along that line, or they named after him. So I was like, it could be him. And then I was like, but those all fit Adam Lambert too. And it's like, I definitely know his voice. Could be Adam Levine or John Legend from The Voice. The voice, his voice really made me think of John Legend on episode 2. I keep trying to say season instead of episode. I don't know why. But yes, his voice really made me think of John Legend's, but the clues just don't fit John Legend. I don't think John Legend surfs. And stuff such as that. So I was like, no, I don't think that's who he is. So I went once again back to Adam Lambert, perhaps Adam Levine, maybe Zac Efron, not 100% certain. And then Llama, when I first heard him, like his voice, when he sang, it made me think of Adam Carolla, and it showed a radio station and hinted toward that he was a comedian. And I was like, well, Adam Carolla is a talk show host on Loveline with Dr. Drew, who was on last season, and he's definitely a comedian. So it could definitely be Adam Carolla. And then he said, I wear digs like this in real life sometimes. And I was like, I've heard somebody use that term before. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that use it, but I've heard someone use that term before. I'm not sure who it is, but digs, who uses that term? And, now that I think about it, I'm kind of surprised that that didn't lead some people to think that he was maybe Taye Diggs. But yeah, he said that he wore clothes like that. Diggs, means clothes like that sometimes in real life. So that led me to Weird Al, because the llama was wearing like a floral shirt, and I can't recall, I think he might have been wearing the long shorts. And so I was like, yeah, maybe it's Weird Al. And then on episode 2, they showed an accordion, and I was like, oh yeah, well that's definitely Weird Al, because Weird Al plays the accordion. And so, yeah, I was definitely thinking that he was Weird Al Yankovic. And Miss Monster, she seemed to be a huge music icon from her voice on episode 1 and 2, in my opinion. And I thought that she was Tina Turner on the first episode, and I stuck with that on the second one. And I was like, it's going to take something monumental, something huge to make me change my mind that she's not Tina Turner, because I'm pretty sure that's who she is. That was at the end of episode 2. As I said a while ago, I have watched episode 3. I'm going to talk about that a bit after I finish talking about my opinions on episode 1 and 2, which I am pretty sure that I already did, but I feel like there might have been a couple of things I might have left out, such as this, for example. Robot, they did his clues, and I was like, okay, those are some good clues. And I didn't take note of the clues this season. I decided not to take note of them, just to try to go by who I thought they sounded like and try my best to remember the clues. I'm trying to work on my memory some. And so I was like, his clues, I'm probably not going to recall any of right now, and probably won't unless I rewatch episode 1, which I watched it twice already. But he started singing, and I was like, ooh, I know the voice, I know who that is. And then I waited until he got done singing and listened to who the judges thought he possibly was. And I paused, I watched it on Hulu, so I paused it and I ran in the other room to my youngest son, and I was like, oh my God, I totally know who the robot is. If that's not who it is, I'm going to be so utterly, totally, completely embarrassed. But he sounds exactly like Lil Wayne. He's got to be Lil Wayne. If the robot is not Lil Wayne, I'm going to totally stop guessing as to who the characters are on this show. That's what I told my youngest son. And he's like, well, I mean, you know, if you were saying something along the lines of, you know, something that was a threat towards yourself, I'd be like, well, I really hope it's Lil Wayne then. But he doesn't watch the show. I've tried to encourage him to, and he might decide to sometime, but I generally run to him and tell him who I think everyone is. So, yeah. And the one who has me confused from Group A, now they're doing it in 3 groups this season because there are 18 characters and they're doing them 6 at a time, apparently narrowing those to 3. And then they're going to have 9, and we'll have to wait and see exactly how it is that they do that format. But the one who has me really confused this season is Kangaroo, which reminds me, I had made a video talking about season 1 and couldn't remember some of the characters I had intended to talk about. One of those was Peacock. That was the one that had me totally confused that season. My sister pretty much knew who he was from the start. She was a huge fan of the person he turned out to be. I thought he was Justin Timberlake for the longest time, and I know I'm not going to remember all of the people that I thought Peacock was, but I never did get even close to who he actually was. But so yeah, each season I've had that person. You know, last season it was Rottweiler, and this season so far I kind of have 2 of them, except I think that I may have actually figured out who Turtle is. So, and then the other one, well, from this group, I'm already confused by 2 of them, so there might be several I'll be confused by this season. But Kangaroo, yeah, she has me confused. On episode 1, you know, she said she's a survivor while she was walking toward a sign that said Outback on it. So I was like, oh, she's someone from Survivor Outback. I watched Survivor at that time, and I know that, like, Elizabeth Hasselbeck was on there. And my thought was, you know, her husband played football. It's possible she made an appearance on the Super Bowl while he was playing football, or maybe she co-announced or something because she has done announcing jobs. So, but I'm like, but can Elizabeth Hasselbeck sing? I thought she did fairly well on the first song that she did. The second one that she did, I didn't like her performance hardly at all, and the judges were like, ooh, she's so good. And I was flabbergasted that they thought that she did so good, because I felt like she should have been the person to be in Mask on that show. Though I also kind of felt like maybe she was holding back, which a lot of the characters seem to tend to do when they go on there in order to try to keep people from knowing who they are. And I'm like, give it your all, do your best. You want to win this, don't you? You know? But so another person who was on Survivor Outback that I thought she might have been was Alicia. I want to say her last name is Calloway, and she's a personal trainer, and they showed, you know, the basketball thing. But I did notice on the back of one of the jerseys when they were showing the basketball thing that it said DJ. So that led me to thinking that maybe she's a DJ. Perhaps she's recorded some songs with someone who's a DJ, that more toward the lines that, you know, maybe she was a DJ. And I know that I had mentioned on one of my videos, probably the last one, that I considered Candace Cameron for a while and looked into her, and she's like 5'1", and I was like, no, Kangaroo's taller than that. The mask on Kangaroo, I noticed on episode 3, on the mask for Kangaroo and Turtle both, there's like a mesh thing down below where their mouth is, which could be for ventilation, you know, to make the voice sound better or whatever, but I really think that that's where their head actually is below the mouth on their costumes. But still, Kangaroo, like the top of the outfit for Kangaroo, is slightly taller than Nick Cannon, in my opinion, which would make the thing like maybe 6'1", 6'2". So I would say she is still probably somewhere between 5'6" and 5'8". Could be wrong about that, but that's my opinion on that. And so, you know, the DJ thing, and I noticed the gold chain around her neck, and I'm pretty sure that I mentioned on my last video that that caused me to lean toward Missy Elliott. And I thought, I just, her last performance, the one from episode 2, I'm trying to say season again, but the one from episode 2, I felt like she was laid back and just lackluster. And it could have been the song. I don't know. It could have, sometimes the volume that I listen. Sometimes I watch it at about 3 o'clock in the morning when it becomes available for me to watch on Hulu, and so I have to turn it down kind of quiet, and that can affect how they sound sometimes. Because I know last season there was a episode where I was like, what happened to Rottweiler on this episode, and I listened to it later and turned it up more, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he still did great. It just didn't sound as good because I had my volume turned down more. But so yeah, now I would like to actually talk about episode 3. And I realize it looks like I haven't changed my shirt, but it's been it's been a week. I'm just wearing the same shirt over again, is how I should say that. But yeah, Kangaroo has me hopping all over the place. And yeah, I didn't get a whole lot from her clues on this episode. And like I said, I'm not writing down really what the clues are, because last time I was like trying to take note of all of the clues, and sometimes it made me miss part of the performance and stuff, but I can go back and watch stuff over again. But the only thing I really got from her clues is that she has a brother that she's a year older than, and I don't recall which judge it was. Might have been Jenny. Anyway, one of the judges said that they're leaning toward Lindsay Lohan. I think it was Nicole that said that, but yeah, said Lindsay Lohan, and Lindsay Lohan does not have a little brother. She has a little sister, and her little sister is more than a year younger than her, too. So I'm like, no, pretty sure it's not Lindsay Lohan. I still like Missy Elliott for her, perhaps Queen Latifah because of the DJ thing for both of them. And I'm feeling kind of like she's an older person. Queen Latifah is pretty tall, like she might even be 6 foot tall. Missy Elliott is not that tall, of course. But I also considered Celine Dion and Nicole Kidman briefly for her, but I don't really think it's either of them. Nicole Kidman basically based on the Outback thing, and she's Canadian, and I know she has done like Broadway musicals and stuff like that before. And I discovered on episode 3 that Kangaroo does really actually have a very good voice. She's just kind of trying to lay back a little, and she has been singing slower songs. So it's going to keep me guessing for a while. And I wrote down notes on most of these, but I didn't write down notes on all of them, so I'm probably going to forget some. And this format will probably give away who some of the people are that have already been voted off. But the clues that I noted most on episode 3 were clues for White Tiger and Miss Monster. White Tiger was standing next to a pyramid-shaped pile of what appeared to be gold nuggets or something, and they showed a hoarder's back, and they also showed some packets of butter. The packets of butter had me totally confused at first. You'll see where I'm going with this here in a minute. My initial thought was the Steelers' colors are gold and black, basically. It's a quarterback, so it has to be a quarterback, so I was still leaning toward Ben Roethlisberger, and then later on I was like trying to kind of figure out the butter aspect of the thing, and like Ben Roethlisberger is 6'5", and I was like, well, wait a second, there was that gold thing. Tom Brady is the golden arm, or that's what they used to call him, because like he could complete like a 60-yard throw and make it look like it was nothing. So his nickname was the golden arm. So I checked to see how tall he is, and he's 6'4". So I was like, oh, well, yeah, it could be Tom Brady. And then I did some research into Tom Brady and butter. and also Ben Roethlisberger and better. And I discovered that at one season, Tom Brady was dropping the ball a lot, and so they nicknamed him Butterfingers. And that's probably the season that they deflated the balls slightly to make them easier to hold on to, or maybe the season before that one was when he was dropping the ball a lot. But anyway, they started referring to him as Butterfingers. So that has the butter thing. But I also noticed a historic Route 66 sign in like the bar thingy, and that led me to think that maybe he went to college somewhere um, where Route 66 runs, which basically, as far as I know, runs from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles. Comes through Oklahoma, which is where I live. Actually comes through the town that I live in. So I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more. I know Ben Roethlisberger was born in Ohio and went to school in Ohio, and there is a state highway 66 there. I haven't yet checked to see where Tom Brady was born or went to college or anything like that, but I plan to do that. But given the clues from episode 3, I have decided that it is most likely Tom Brady, and boy, he does really know how to work the crowd. He said something about that, which having more thinking Ben Roethlisberger again, because he's been under rile up the crowd at Steelers games whenever people are acting less enthusiastic than they maybe should be. But I'm sure Tom Brady has also done that. And sorry, yeah, episode 3, the turtle. The biggest clues on there. They talked to, or they had one of his high school teachers give clues, and she was talking about having him in biology class. So he's one of the people that actually attended college, actually attended high school. So it's not like he's probably a kid star. And there was a map that showed Seoul, South Korea on it. So I know I had decided, I think on episode 2, I decided like I really knew the voice, and I was trying to decide who his voice sounded like to me. And when I rewatched it, I decided perhaps he does sound like Nick Jonas, who I think one of the judges had said maybe they thought it was on episode 1. And the clues for Turtle, there was an alpha and omega, which I originally thought was a pi sign. I was trying to remember. I mean, I didn't originally think that. I was trying to remember what signs they showed, and I thought that I was thinking it had shown a pi sign, and I was thinking his wife's name started with pi, not pry, and so I was thinking that, like, yeah, it probably is Nick Jonas from that, but I did discover that both Adam Lambert and Nick Jonas have gone to Korea. I want to say, I know Adam Lambert specifically went to Seoul, South Korea, but I think Nick Jonas also did. And the alpha and omega thing, if you look up, like you Google, you can find a lot of stuff on the internet about how it says Nick Jonas is an alpha male, and a few maybe references to is he an alpha male or an omega male. But on my research, my Googling, I discovered that there was a lady who wrote a book about Adam Lambert that is called Alpha and Omega Male dash Adam Lambert, which has me going back toward Adam Lambert. So I know he generally sings the, like, my brain was saying Kiss, that's the wrong group, the Queen type music, the hard rocker type music, type stuff that Queen does, but he has some songs of his own that are not such fast songs. And the song that he chose for episode 3 started out slower. It was a Shawn Mendes song. It started out slower, and then it got more jazzed up and kind of rocky, rock-like, I guess I should say. And so I'm still almost certain that Turtle is Adam Lambert could, like, my top two people for Turtle now definitely are Adam Lambert and Nick Jonas. And the other ones that performed today were Miss Monster, or not today, but on episode 3 were Miss Monster and Kangaroo. I think I already talked about, yes, or I definitely already talked about Kangaroo and how she has me hopping around all over the place trying to figure out who she is. And I may have to look into some whether or not Lindsay Lohan does have a younger brother. I was thinking, like, there's Britney Spears and Jamie Lynn Spears, who are both singers and have done acting, but I was thinking perhaps it seems like they have a brother who just doesn't do anything like that. And it's possible that Lindsay also does, but so I was going to kind of look into that a little bit. Not really getting a Britney Spears vibe from her, but like I said, I feel like she's holding back some. When she started, she sang a Rihanna song on episode 3, and when she started singing it to me, at first she sounded exactly like Rihanna. I was like, oh, well, it's Rihanna. But no, the body style's wrong for Rihanna. And then the other one who performed was Miss Monster, and as I said before, I was convinced she was Tina Turner. She had a huge iconic voice, sounded to me just like Tina Turner. And then on episode 3, her voice just wasn't as, it didn't seem as strong to me as it did on episode 1 and 2. It could have been the song that she did. She hit some kind of, some more high notes than she had been doing. And I'm not sure really exactly what all it was about her performance, but I was like, to me, she didn't seem as iconic and legendary. No offense to the person that was under the costume. I decided I did not know who she was. I didn't know the voice. Couldn't tell her. I knew she was older because she wasn't doing a whole lot of moving around and stuff, but I couldn't put my finger on who she may have possibly been. But I had decided that she definitely was not Tina Turner. So, and I was trying not to give stuff away, which kind of have to give stuff away because those are the only ones that performed on episode 3 were the White Tiger, Kangaroo, Miss Monster, and Turtle. So that tells you that Llama and Robot have already been eliminated. And on that note, I guess I might as well go ahead and say that on this episode, the one that was eliminated, which a lot of people seemed really surprised by, was Miss Monster. But like I said, I didn't think her performance on episode 3 was as good as it was on episode 1 or 2. So, and to wrap this up, I guess I want to talk a little bit about plasma donation again. I had talked about that before and how I had had some reactions. I don't discourage people from donating. I did find out last Monday that at the center where my son and I have been donating plasma, I will no longer be able to donate plasma because I did have several reactions, like 3 technically, but then they restarted me on one of them and I ended up having another one, so they counted as 4. But I found out that they have a criteria for people who are more likely to have bad reactions to donating, and that criteria is being young, anyone who's young, being Caucasian, which for those of you who may not know means white. Caucasian is a word that's not used a whole lot anymore, but it refers to someone who is white. So being young, being white, being a female is another one of them, and having a low body weight. And she said that I have three of those, being that I'm young. No, just kidding. Being that I'm a white female who has a lower body weight, even though I'm in the second weight category now, but lower body weight than I guess several people have, or whatever. I don't know. At any rate, I had been considering going ahead and stopping donating because of the fact that I had had the reactions, and because I just, like the second reaction I had, I think I might have said something about this in my last video too, now that I think about it, but this after the second reaction that I had, I didn't, it wasn't like I just felt bad after I had it, or like when I had it, or after I had it, or the rest of that day. Like, I felt bad for like 2 or 3 days after I did that one. Kept trying to build up my protein and iron and eat healthy stuff and not drink as much caffeine as I normally drink and such, and it didn't seem to be helping. So I may have an underlying health issue. So I was contemplating going ahead and stopping donating anyway. But for anyone that is interested in donating, it is a super good way to get some extra money, and there are excellent bonuses no matter where you would go to donate. But my vlog is, for right now, mostly about The Masked Singer. Oh, they announced on episode 3 that they're going to be doing tours. They're going to be going to various cities around the country. So, possibly around the globe. I don't know about that for sure. But, I'm like, oh, I hope they come to Oklahoma City. I'm sure they probably will. And I would love to go, but I know I won't be able to afford to. But, yeah, it would be so great to be able to actually go. But you have to order your tickets now, and I would kind of want to know which characters were going to be performing whenever I went, but I think it would be so cool to be able to actually vote on who you think does the best, and who, see live someone actually getting demasked. I think that would be so, so great, but probably won't happen for me. Any of you who can afford to buy tickets, definitely do it. I recommend it, and I think this is going to make the show grow in popularity even more. I still can't believe that there are people out there who don't actually watch it, but, not everybody has as much time on their hands as I do, working 8 whole hours a week. Ooh, God forbid. But yeah, I did a job interview yesterday for another place that will have more hours if I get the job, and I'm hoping that I will, but, fingers crossed, but anything could happen. There's no telling. I guess I'm going to sign off, and everyone have a great time of whatever time of day or night it is in your part of the world. Give me a thumbs up if you want, subscribe if you want. Keep watching The Masked Singer, because I know that's what we all want to do. Have a great have a great life. Yeah.